Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. This YouTube segment, well, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to entitle the video yet, to be honest, but I will come up with the title, of course. At the time of this taping, I'm not really sure what the title will be, but I will put a title on, obviously. But it's going to be kind of pertaining to, it's going to be pertaining to matters of the heart and patience. Now, to a story, true story. About 3 years ago, I had been friends with someone on Facebook, and it was escalating to a point where I felt like it would potentially at least become romantic, and might have led to a potential significant other situation for me. Well, what happened was, as it escalated and I felt like I was getting a stronger rapport with this person, and I felt stronger with her in terms of the heart, and she had even stated to me at least a few times that she had loved me, and I believed it. I understand that internet connections can be superficial, and a lot of times it's hard to really see and understand somebody's feelings toward you when you're just talking with them, corresponding with them on the internet. You haven't had the in-person connection with the person, but I've had reason to feel that it was getting stronger. And what happened was there was one time where I had seen something on her Facebook wall, and I felt like it was a reference toward me, and I felt it was like inflammatory or derogatory, and I was upset about it. And as a result, I wound up, I got irritated, and I had wound up blocking the person. And the thing was, this was about 3 years ago. And when I look back on that, this is a lesson to be learned. And I mean, in those 3 years, if you're wondering, well, was there ever any communication with me and this lady from that point? No, there has been none since then. I don't anticipate anything in the in the future. Perhaps if I was to say, do I think there will be contact with me here again? At this point in time, I would say I would lean toward no. I don't think it'll ever happen again. The thing about it is, I mean, what this is about, though, people, is about this. Sometimes it's just about the exercising of patience in one's life. Many of you may see me on my astrology channel, and many of you may know I have Taurus rising, and Taurus energy, of course, epitomizes patience. But what I have in my chart is that I have Chiron in Aries in my 12th house. Well, some of you may wonder, well, how can that manifest in terms of like impatient energy? Well, Aries energy can be impatient. You're talking about Chiron could be connected with wounds and suffering. I think the way it might manifest with me is that perhaps being overly impetuous, impulsive in situations might lead to some strong emotional suffering. Being in the 12th house tied in with secret sorrows. But I am talking about it. I have the ruler of my 12th house in my 3rd house, so I'm more apt to maybe divulge a little bit more about my secret sorrows, if you will. More so than the typical Gemini moon person, who Gemini moon, as many of you may know, I mean, generally could be very vocal, and I say voluble, regarding worldly things, but not so much personal. But this I'm saying because this is a lesson to be learned. And the thing about it is, this is something where I look back, and people will always say, well, don't lament, don't ruminate, don't lament over all these things. There's nothing you can do about it. I understand that. But we're human beings. We're gonna, when we do something that we have regrets and we feel repercussions for, I mean, almost everybody's gonna think about it periodically. The thing about it is, if you become close with someone, people, many of you may already have a significant other and you got a stable situation, that's fine. But for those of you that are not involved with anybody and you're trying to maybe find that elusive love or what have you, what I would say is to be patient. and make sure, somebody is saying something, or you think they may have said something about you, or you thought someone intimated something, made a reference toward you, whatever. Just make sure you confirm and verify it before jumping to conclusions, being presumptuous. That's what I may have done. Now, it may have very well been that this lady had said something that was in reference to me. It was something about, this actually happened on Valentine's Day in 2016. And, she had stated something, well, because this is on her Facebook wall, something about someone near and dear to you it wants you to bend over backwards on Valentine's Day, being a man-made holiday. And I felt like it was pretty much a reference toward me. And, I had wrote her something, and then I blocked the person subsequently. And, I look back, and even if it was pertaining to me, I look back in retrospect, the question would be, well, Eddie, could you have actually talked this out with the person before just deciding to end things abruptly? Oh, of course. Naturally, I could have done that, and I didn't. And I haven't really had anything remotely close since in this, anything where I would start to feel more of a stronger closeness with a woman. Somebody had wrote me back. I mean, there was some correspondence with another lady after that, but I think she might have just been trying to use me for monetary reasons, and that connection came to it. And actually, is because of what she decided to do. She had stated to me one time, this other person, not the person I was talking about before, that this person was in a foreign country. This other person I'm talking about now. This was something that ended completely about a month ago with this other lady. And we had video chatted for a little bit. And what happened with that was at some point she had said, well, I know you don't love me the way I love you, so I'm not going to have these feelings for you anymore. Well, I think what happened with that person was that that person might have thought maybe she didn't feel comfortable asking me for money, or didn't think I would ever send her anything again. So I think maybe she just looked for an easy way out and to blame me, so to speak, and say, well, say that I was the reason that she wanted to end things with me, to make her feel better, so she could so this way she wouldn't be appear to be the guilty party, so to speak, if you understand what I'm saying, because this way she wouldn't have to acknowledge blame, where the reality was, I think what happened is that this other lady was probably just using me for monetary reasons, and she felt like she couldn't get anything from me anymore, so she decided to eradicate as far as a potential love connection with me, and say that the reason she did was connected with me to make her feel better about what she did, and so she wouldn't have to admit what the truth was, what was really veracious and true, if you understand what I'm saying. But anyway, back to the other lady with the that I blocked on the Facebook, the thing on Valentine's Day 3 years ago. It's a lesson. Really, it really is, because like I stated, I haven't had anything really remotely close to that at that time. And for me, and someone could say, well, I mean, actually what I want to get at is, I'm going off on Gemini Moon tangent here a little bit. I had a dream, admittedly, about this person recent time. Not that kind of dream. Just a regular dream, just like seeing somebody. And I saw this person who apparently was in a store. Excuse me. And what happened was, I walked by the store window and I saw her in there. And that was basically it. The dreams, of course, I do believe can be symbolic of things. Somebody had commented, it said something to me one time. I posted about this on my Facebook wall. And someone had commented, said, well, maybe, it could be a premonition of something. Well, that's possible. I guess time will tell. You know, like that Asia song or whatever. Uh, I think for me, though, I think what that was symbolic of is that I maybe needed to walk past this person, figuratively speaking, and leave this person behind in my thoughts. But the thing about it is, the fact that I dreamt about this person still obviously indicates that this person has not been eliminated from my thoughts. That this is a person that will stay in my mind maybe till my end days, you know, on earth. That because I obviously, maybe as much as I would like to think that I was over this person 100%, maybe I haven't been. Maybe I haven't been real to myself and what I felt, and the person is still in my mind. And the thing about it is, maybe because she was somewhat significant to me, partly because I haven't had many women in my life that really had expressed any kind of love toward me, even though this was just on the internet. Somewhat, you know, maybe people might say, well, Eddie, why don't you just unblock the person and write her? Well, you know what it is. It's not that I'm overly grudge holding or being vindictive or vengeful. The thing about this is, because so much time has gone by, the point for me doing that at this point, the person likely has moved on, you know, and considering all the time has gone by, I don't really see the point in doing that after all this time. I just have to hope that the person is doing well right now, that she's doing well, and her whatever she's doing in life, she's thriving and flourishing, and that's basically it. But the lesson, again, people, is to be really about, just be about patience, and many of you may already be this. I mean, I'm not really probably saying much that most of you don't know. I think most of you know what I'm talking about. And being impulsive and impatient and becoming easily provoked or baited or whatever is not, I mean, you're in a connection with someone because not, I mean, you may not get another opportunity to have somebody in your life that could be significant, be a significant other. This was something where I think I look back in retrospect, and you know, the hindsight theory, of course, is always 20/20, right? But it's infallible. But you know, look back, I could say, could I have potentially worked things out with a person? Probably so. But I chose not to do it, and here I am right now, in the same boat I've been most of my life. I've been by myself, feeling alone and desolate. Imagine that. You know, this video is not about getting sympathy, please, or wallowing in self-pity. That's not the intention. Intention is just to let people know, be cognizant of the fact that, you know, again, I can't be emphatic about this enough, is that being patient is so important. And showing some discipline and restraint maybe sometime. It would have been one thing if this lady, if this woman, she had actually put my name there, and she had said something more specific about that would actually show that it had to be me that she was referencing in that statement, that post she made on her Facebook wall. And I look back, I could have handled it much more maturely. I should have wrote the person. I should have been, you know, not, I mean, I did write the person, but I had blocked her shortly after I wrote her. What I mean is I should have conversed with her more and talked things out and have her elucidate or elaborate on what was stated. And then I can make it more of a decision based on the communications that we both exchanged with each other at that point in time. But I did not do that. And here I am right now. Situation, no, there's no change, might not be a change ever. You don't really get many opportunities and things like that for some people, especially a situation like mine when you're at a lower stature in life. You don't have a lot coming in monetarily. It's hard to draw the woman in your life that you would like to have. And of course, it becomes progressively harder, obviously, the older you get. And if your life situation generally hasn't changed and you're not, you don't have big financial stability or what have you, it's going to be hard. It really is. And people, if you have somebody, even if it's someone on the internet and you feel that there's some stability with the connection and you have a strong feeling that it is more than just a superficial connection, and by all means, something happens where you see something where you're not sure, was the person stating something about you, or did the person really mean that? It's important to verify and talk it out with the person and then move and then go from there, and not just be presumptuous and jump to conclusions like I did. And now look what's happened, so basically that's what I wanted to get on, and that's pretty much it, people. That'll conclude this YouTube segment, and until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.